McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop, Episode 13. Melinda Merkle Strikes Again. September 20th, 1921. Dear Diary, have you ever gone to the park to pester pigeons? Naturally you have not, because you are a book, with a spine made out of thread and glue. Unless, of course, I took you to the park and threw you at pigeons. Then, technically, you would be pestering pigeons. Don't worry, Diary, I am not going to throw you at fat grey birds. My point is that I like to pester pigeons. It's not terribly mean-spirited. I bring old bread crusts for them to enjoy, but then I try to hit as many pigeons in the head with the bread as I can. I usually miss, and even when I hit them, they merely fluff a bit, look around, and then start eating. It's about as mean as being hit with a pillow. The pigeons don't seem to mind, and it keeps me occupied. Well, I was at the park pestering pigeons. I was in disguise, of course. A man came and sat beside me. He unfolded his newspaper with pizzazz, and he jammed his nose into it. I glanced over, and my heart jumped into my throat. The headline said, "Has Melinda Merkle struck again?" Did they have to go and mix my name into it? I wanted to punch the man reading the newspaper. In fact, I wanted to stride down to the police station and set the record straight. I hadn't murdered anyone. What kind of idiots are they? I sat there in a heated frenzy until the man got up. Blessedly, he left his paper. I snatched it up and read the front page story. In the end, it was all fluff. Some woman had gone missing, and her uncle thought she might have been murdered, and the press was pinning the whole rumor on me. They didn't have a leg to stand on. They just wanted to sell copies. It didn't matter, though. Soon there'd be a real live body. A real dead body. And everyone would be sure I'd done it. I'd be a double murderer. I'd be wanted for life. I'd get the electric chair the second I was caught. I pressed my fingers into my forehead. The night enthusiasts were playing psychological chess with me. I'd refused to join their little operation because I didn't want to give up my sense of right and wrong. Now they were taking my life away from me. How much longer could I bear this loneliness and confusion before I decided, hang it all, let's kill a pixie, I want some friends. I was not in a good place, Diary. But if you think that tidbit about the paper and the pigeons is why I'm writing, you're wrong. Something much more interesting happened. It was nothing short of magic, and I took it as a sign. The girl from the soup line, the one I'd accidentally turned into a magic unusual, went walking past. At first I thought I was dreaming. I stared at her, my eyes bugging out of my head. What were the chances that of all the people in the entire city, she walked right past me when I was sitting on a park bench? We weren't even anywhere near the soup place. She had miraculously showed up, once again. My heart hammered, and I found it difficult to breathe. In some ways, I felt as though I should leap up and run after her. She was right here, and surely this was my last chance. If this girl ended up in the hands of the night enthusiasts, I would be to blame for not shielding her when I'd had the opportunity. Despite my inclination to run after her, I stayed where I was. I still didn't know if I should meddle. Alone, she might escape the notice of the night enthusiasts. Mr. McGillicuddy might get to her first. With me, she would absolutely attract the notice of the night enthusiasts. And I didn't know what to do. The girl walked on a little ways, then stopped and looked up at a tree. She seemed to be examining a bird's nest. "Come on, Maude," I said to myself. "She's even stopping. It's like she's waiting for you. You need to go tell her what you did, what she is. Explain how her eyes are going to start glowing in the bathroom mirror." But I couldn't get up. It was the worst dilemma of my life. It's one thing to risk your own life, but it's entirely different to risk someone else's. I began to feel hot all over, certain I was going to blow it. The only problem was, I didn't know what blowing it would be. I just knew that, whatever I did, it was going to be wrong. I could hardly breathe, let alone move. And then, in some cosmic sign, the girl came back towards me. She flashed me a shy smile, then sat down on the other side of the bench. "My feet hurt," she said. She smiled again, a little awkward and shy, and took off her left shoe. She massaged her arch and stared at the pigeons. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be so rude, but I didn't say a word to her. How could I? I had a frog in my throat the size of a grapefruit. She kept glancing over at me, too, like she was waiting for me to say something. Finally, she said, "Do you live around here?" "Oh," I said, "sorry, no, I'm just visiting a friend." My hands grew hot. Why was I lying? I'm a terrible liar. When I start lying, I fidget and my tongue swells to twice its normal size. "Oh," the girl said. There was silence again. "I'm Ariana," she said. She offered me her hand. "The park is nice, isn't it? I live near here." She swung her left foot, then glanced over at me. "I'm sorry for staring, but have I met you before?" I felt myself turn pink. "Well, now that you mention it," I said, "I think maybe I was behind you in line yesterday, at the soup and sandwich place." "Oh," the girl said, with a shrill note of pleasure in her voice. "That was you! You gave me a nickel." She whipped out her handbag and started fishing around. "I'll pay you back right here. How lucky!" "Oh, you don't have to pay me back," I said. "No," she said, "it's fate. And besides, a nickel will buy at least one ice cream soda, and I can't just have you giving up an ice cream soda, can I?" I grinned. I felt comfortable with her. Something about the way she moved. It was a little awkward and eager and relaxed all at once. She held up a shining nickel. "There." She dropped it into my hand, smiling. I took it and slipped it into my own purse. "Do you ever get lonely in the city?" she said. She stared out across the park. "I think it's one of the loveliest and most devastating things about a city. You're surrounded by people, but you know no one." She burst into nervous laughter and sat up straighter. "I'm sorry. It's just that I haven't made any friends yet, and I know you're nice." She glanced at me. "You're very easy to talk to, do you know that?" I smiled. The truth was, I was enjoying her company as much as she was enjoying mine. It was like sunshine, or like diving into a cool, glassy clear pool when you're parched with thirst. It was so lovely to have a friend again. "I'm sorry to be so personal," she said, "but can you recommend a good doctor to me? My blood's been feeling funny lately, ever since yesterday, and I've been having funny dreams." I looked at her, and I saw myself, just a few weeks before. I'd been alone, but she didn't have to be. I decided. To be honest, diary, I'm still not sure I made the right choice. I'm not a safe friend. But I extended my hand. "Ariana," I said, "my name is Maude Merkle, and I'm afraid I've got a funny story for you." We hope you've enjoyed episode 13, Melinda Merkle Strikes Again, of McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop is written and performed by Minerva Sweeney Wren, all rights reserved. Please subscribe, share it with your friends, and support Minerva Sweeney Wren at patreon.com/Sweeney Wren. McGillicuddy and Murder's Pawn Shop will continue next week with episode 14, The Deadliest Spider.